Thank you. Finally, I would like to introduce you to our final speaker, Deborah Weiss, another attorney. Deborah Weiss works for Vigilance Incorporated, a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating federal officials and the public on the nonviolent radical Islamist movement. Ms. Weiss previously worked as an attorney for the Office of the Corporation Counsel in New York City under the Giuliani and Bloomberg administrations and served as counsel for the Committee on House Oversight here in the U.S. Congress. Ms. Weiss is a regular contributor to FrontPageMag.com, the Washington Times, the American Security Council Foundation, American Thinker, and many others. Ms. Weiss herself is a survivor of the September 11, 2001 attacks in New York City. Ms. Deborah.
I have to make sure I grow for the next speech. I want to thank Sarah very much for giving me this opportunity to speak here today, and I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate yourself on some of America's biggest, some of the biggest threats to America's freedom. I was asked to speak to you about the Organization of Islamic Conference, or OIC, and some of the UN resolutions that they're pushing. But first I'm going to give you a little bit of background about the OIC, in case you don't know who they are. So who are they? First, they are the second largest international organization in the world, second only to the UN. They are the largest Islamic organization in the world with 57 member states, or 56 member states plus the Palestinian Authority to be exact. And considering the UN only has 192 members, you can imagine that they hold quite a lot of power and sway because they tend to vote as a bloc in the UN. They claim to represent 1.5 billion Muslims worldwide. I'm not saying that all the citizens of the countries who've joined the OIC are really in accord with the agenda. Nevertheless, their countries have joined the OIC, and among their stated purposes is to galvanize the Muslim voice, to speak with unity, and to achieve common goals to quote-unquote protect Islam and to advance what they consider Islamic goals. So the first resolution that I'm going to discuss with you today is called the Resolution to Combat the Defamation of Religion. The OIC, the purpose of this resolution is to stifle criticism of Islam and related subjects. Originally, the OIC claims that it believes in free speech, but it says that free speech doesn't include freedom of blasphemy. It's trying to pass this resolution worldwide. If it had its way, it would be criminal to speak anything negative about Islam around the world. Knowing that they can't accomplish that certainly overnight, they have targeted their efforts at various UN bodies, and now they're starting at various EU parliaments as well, sometimes in watered down versions where they think they can make the most inroads, and making inroads they are. Initially, the text was, I don't know if I said this, sorry, but it was called Defamation of Islam originally, and when that didn't fly, they changed the name of it to Defamation of Religions, so that should tell you something about it right there. If it were to be made binding law, you would not be able to say anything about Islam, Muslim countries, Muslims, Sharia law, fatwas, or anything that flows from Islamic law. What they tell you, under the guise of responsible speech, sensitive speech, or politically correct speech, is that's what they're asking you to do, but really what they want is to limit your freedom of speech. The text singles out Islam as the only religion that it mentions by name in the resolution, and it takes assumptions and asserts them as fact. Without any hearings, without any debate, without any investigation, it takes certain assumptions, asserting them as fact. For example, Islam is wrongly associated with human rights violations, Islam is wrongly associated with terrorism, and there is undue backlash against Muslims ever since 9/11. The resolution condemns religious profiling. It seeks to prohibit the distribution of, quote, xenophobic ideas and material aimed at any religion or its followers, and to prevent acts of hatred and defamation. It promotes interfaith dialogue, but believe me, there is no reciprocity for anti-Jewish speech, Jewish hate speech, or any anti-Israel hate speech. Indeed, the